Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back here to today's edition of Intuitive Angling, and really appreciate you guys taking your time to watch the video today. And man, I really do mean that I appreciate it, because there's so many YouTube channels for you guys to watch. You got a limited amount of time, and all the YouTubers out there, from what I've seen, are really struggling to get people to watch their videos now. So it really means a lot to me that you guys would choose Intuitive Angling. So hope you guys find it entertaining and educational at the same time here. Really appreciate that. Guys, today we're going to be talking about the biggest nightmare dude I have ever fished with in my life. You guys, like I said, like to hear stories from the past quite a bit. I got one here for you. And out of all the people I fished with in my life, and I have literally been in the boat with thousands of different people. You know, I fished over probably 500 tournaments in my life, and with the co-anglers and fishing for fun and this and that, I've been in the boat with tons of people. And 98% of them have been great. Really, 98% of the people I fished with over the past 50 years, great experiences. I've made good friends with them. But occasionally you will draw a bonehead, like I drew in this tournament. And this dude that I'm going to tell you about is the literal bonehead of all boneheads that I have ever met in my life. It was an absolutely miserable day. This was I want to keep it generic, because I'll just say this was a tournament quite a while ago. I don't want to mention the name because I don't think that's fair to this guy. But anyway, this particular tournament I was going in, I was in 7th place going into the last day of this tournament. And I was only like 1.5 pounds out of the lead, so I had a really good shot to win it, because my weights were getting better every day. I was getting more dialed into what I was doing. And I really felt I had a legitimate shot to win this tournament. And when you have a chance to win a tournament, there's a lot of anxiety. You're like, the night before the tournament, you're thinking about everything that could go right or wrong, and you're really trying to focus on the tournament. And when I drew my partner for the next day, a co-angler, I had heard about this guy being tough to fish with. And there used to be about 5 or 6 guys that nobody wanted to draw, because they were nightmares to fish with, just real a-holes to fish with. And this guy wasn't like the top a-hole, that he was on the list of the top 5. I've heard about him. So back then, you used to have to meet your partner the night before the tournament. So anyway, I met this guy, to try to get the next day planned out there. And I could tell when I met him, it's like he was really fidgety and nervous. And then he knew I was in 7th place, and I think I even told him that I was only 1.5 pounds out of the lead. And that like went in one ear and out the other. And he kept talking to me about the fact, he goes, I think if I catch a limit of fish tomorrow, I might make the money. He was like in the middle of the pack. So he goes, if I can catch like 10 pounds or so tomorrow, I think I can get a check. Hold on, guys. Elijah's yelling at me one here. I'll be right back. Okay, guys, sorry about that, but our dog got out of the house, and Elijah was hollering at me. She got out, so we had to go run her down the neighborhood here. Okay, so anyway, let's get back to the story. Anyway, this dude, like I said, he was just basically, all he was concerned about was him just getting a check in the tournament, which probably, if he got a check in that tournament as a co-angler, you might have won $100. And I've got a legitimate chance to win $100,000 in this tournament. I got him dialed in. I'm right close to being in the lead of the tournament. Like I said, my weights are getting better every day. I was super, super confident. So even though I could tell he could care less that I had a chance to win this tournament, it was all about him, I was still trying to be nice to the guy, because I wanted to smooth. I didn't want to have to worry about this guy fishing. I wanted to focus on fishing. And he starts probing me for every detail about what I'm going to be doing. What bait you're using, what color, what pound test line, what part of the lake you fishing, just everything. And it's like, I'm not going to tell him that. Like, that's none of your business. It's like, I'll tell you basically what you need to bring, and I'm not going to divulge everything I'm going to do and have you tell your buddies or something and have a chance of somebody else finding out about it. But I told him, I said, look, man, I said, if I'm catching on something and you don't have it, I said, you're welcome to have it in my boat. Just trying to neutralize it. And I could tell this guy he was irritated right off the bat for no reason, because I didn't give him any reason to be irritated. He just came into it with this bad attitude. And, that's obviously why he got the bad attitude going in. So anyway, we get to my first spot, and I had this one spot where it was a long section of riprap bank. And I was casting the finesse jig on this riprap bank. And I was staying quite a ways off at maybe 30 feet, making 45-degree angle cast to the riprap bank. And I was usually be able to catch a limit doing this. Then I'd upgrade to my secondary pattern for some bigger fish. So we get out there right off the bat, and I think he's throwing a worm, and I'm throwing this finesse jig, and I catch 3 fish right off the bat, 3 pretty decent keepers. And I could tell after every keeper that I caught, he was getting irritated. It's like he wasn't talking. It's like he didn't say something, oh, good job, or that's a nice one. It's like he was silent. Every time that I caught one, he was silent. And he would make a cast and he'd go like that, like it pissed him off I caught one. And, it's like every single time I found it really odd. And so anyway, I worked down the bank about another, probably 50 yards, and I catch 2 more. So I've got a limit in the boat. And like I said, he hadn't said a word to me. I put 5 fish in the boat. He hasn't said a peep. And I go, you want one of the baits? I said, I got some of these jigs here. He goes, I don't want to, he said, this is ridiculous. He said, why are we even fishing like this? He goes, I haven't had a bite here. He goes, you're catching all the fish up in front of me. And I said, dude, I'm not picking apart any targets. I said, I'm casting and I'm leaving you like 10 feet between casts. I make a cast and cast another 10 feet up. And I said, the fish are here. I said, he goes, this just isn't working. He goes, I just can't get any bites here. He said, you got anything else we can do like that? And of course, at that point, this is the first indication that, it's going to go, things could possibly go sideways. So he's starting to talk at this point because he's super mad and super frustrated. So we fished about another hour through there, and I think I maybe culled one out. And I think he finally wound up catching one barely keeper on the worm. He wouldn't take one of the jigs from me, even I offered him. He was just mad that we were doing what we were doing because he had some other idea that he wanted to do something else. Like he was almost thinking that like it was a 50-50 deal. Like he had, part of his, he had the right to tell us we're going to fish here. He sort of had that vibe, but he had this thing in his mind. I can't even remember. It's been so many years ago, but he thought the fish were doing something else. He made it known to me that the way that I was fishing was not the way we need to be fishing. So the next spot we went to, I picked up the flipping stick. I put down my finesse jig and I started flipping heavy cover, like lay down logs and trees and stuff like that. And I catch a 6-pounder. So at this point, I know that I've got a legitimate chance to win the tournament. I've got a 6-pounder and I've got a limit. They're just nice keepers. I don't have any other big ones with them, but just a nice 6-pounder. And I could tell when I caught that big one, he was fuming that I caught that big one because he still got that one little one in there. And at that point, he starts in the same thing. He's the same thing. He goes, I'm not going to catch anything doing this. He goes, you're going through there and you're picking every fish off of this log. He goes, I can't catch anything behind you doing this. He goes, this is not right. He goes, you're just picking every fish off of there. And at this point, I'm starting to get irritated. I still haven't said anything to him, but it's like, I'm on the verge. I'm on the verge of saying something to this guy because here it is. We're almost half through the day. He's got one keeper in the boat. And, I've got a good limit at this point. So throughout the course of the next 2 or 3 stops, he's making these sort of like these passive aggressive comments the whole time. And I think he catches one more. So he's got 2 just small keepers in the boat, pound and a half fish a piece. And I still am sitting, I've got a 6-pounder limit. And we pull up to this next spot that I'm fishing, and I throw this crankbait down this rocky bank, and a big one hits me. I get it almost all the way to the boat, the crankbait, and this big one hits me right at the boat. And I could see it was a big one. It's like, oh man, it was a tournament right there. I said, I knew it was a tournament. It was probably another 5 or 6-pounder. So I've got about 5 feet of line out, and this big one hits, because I saw it hit. And it's like, it's immediate when it hit, it just started smoking out to the middle of the lake. And I'm talking, it just was smoking out there. Comes way up out there and jumps. And I'm fighting this thing back to the back, and he's not even looking at me. He's just like casting, he's going like that, just casting like it's just pissing him off that I got this big fish on. So I'm fighting this thing forever, because the first time it jumped, I could tell that it only had one hook in the back. I could see the whole bait out of its mouth. So I'm fighting this thing, and it's jumping like a mother. It jumped 3 or 4 times, and I get it probably, 5 feet from the boat, and it comes up, and jumps off in the air. It jumps about 3 feet in the air and comes off, this big one. And I'm like, I just started freaking cussing. It's like, just because I knew that was a tournament right there. And it's like, at this point, it's like I knew that I had just lost a tournament, and I had no patience for this goober anymore at all. It's like it was time. It's like he better not open his freaking mouth again, or I'm gonna freaking go off him like a spider monkey. So we're running down the lake, and as we're running, I'm running like down to the next spot I'm going to. We're going about 35 miles an hour. He goes, if I don't sign your weighing ticket, he goes, you're not going to be able to weigh in those fish. He goes, the way that you've been treating me, he goes, I don't even think I'm going to say sign your weighing ticket. That just hit me wrong. I pulled that throttle back, shut that boat down in the middle of the lake, and I go, I am tired of your blanky blank mouth. I said, you get on the phone right now and you call the tournament director and you tell him exactly what you want to do and explain to him what I did to you, and we'll see what he says on that. I said, I have treated you completely fair. I said, I haven't done anything to screw you. I go, only thing we've done has been fishing today. And I said, I am sick of your mouth. I said, you call right now and let's get this straightened out. He didn't call. He didn't say anything. He didn't say another word to me the rest of the day. He wound up signing my weighing ticket. He weighed in his 2 fish. I wound up finishing in the top 10 of the tournament. I think I stayed in 7th or maybe 6th place like that. But anyway, guys, this guy was, as much as I tried and as hard as I tried to be nice to this guy, and I wasn't screwing him at all. It was a typical fishing day. It was a typical tournament day that I've had hundreds of days just like it, and I've had guys that had no problems with it, but this guy was just a freaking a-hole. He was just like, and I heard several things. I talked to a couple of my buddies that drew him after that, and they said they had the same problems with him, and I try to give people the benefit of the doubt. I don't know, maybe this guy's going through a bad time. Maybe his wife left him. Maybe he's, whatever. He could have some personal situation that is like, that I don't even understand. So I always try to have some empathy for people, but at the point I hung on as long as I could until he said that he wasn't going to sign my weighing ticket for no reason at all. That's when I just sort of lost it a little bit. But anyway, guys, that's the worst bonehead I've ever drawn. I've had, like I said, I've had probably half a dozen of them that stand out in my mind that were terrible, but this guy was definitely the top of the cake. I just wanted to share that story with you guys. So hope you all are well. We'll talk later.